All right, all right, all right. Welcome to the Barbershop Talk. Got my co-host up here, Brother Lawrence. Shalom, brother.
Shalom, shalom, brother. Shalom to everybody in the chat. What a good day.
Yes, it is a good day. So, all right. As the title that I just did earlier, changes, or is it? So, what did you think of the whole concept there, and how everything? I try to correlate everything with the scripture as well as uh, bringing out about Paul.
Well, actually, before Paul, I really did like the example of Paul because, well, you know what? Let's go with Paul. Especially when you brought up the aspect of the Benjamin tribe and how they
Yeah,
are and how like ravenous wolves they go after their target, prey, enemy, whatever you want to call it. That was perfect because again, like you said, you don't really change as the person. You just change your focus on what you're going after. Does that make,
hmm,
if I'm saying that right?
right.
Um, because it's like we discussed before. The core person is still there.
Yes.
I mean, if you're a bad person, you're a bad person. If you're a good person, you're a good person. None of that's going to change. It's kind
Right.
of like, well, it's like, kind of like when we talked about a stream or two ago, what alcohol and money really does. It doesn't it
Yes.
doesn't it doesn't create, it doesn't do anything except show who you really are.
Yeah. It reveals and amplifies it. Yeah.
Exactly. So I look at it in that capacity. Which, like I said, with the example of the Benjamin tribe and Paul himself, I mean that nailed it. I mean that nailed it right there to me.
All right. All right.
um if if I had to if I had to make a modern analogy,
Okay.
um, I would say, like we've talked about before with the culture of colored folk,
Mm.
uh, you know, which is like we always talk, want to drag people along who shouldn't be there because
Right, right.
you refuse to accept the fact that they are who they are. Yeah,
Yeah,
because like you said,
yeah,
there's no change. What you're hoping for is that they'll change when they get there, but the question is why would you do that? Like the
yeah.
saying goes, when somebody shows you who they are, believe them.
Yes, yes, yes. You should, exactly. Yeah, and that's the thing, one of the things I wanted to point out is, I mean, when somebody says that, when you when you think that I've changed, man, look, it's something that someone who really has quote unquote changed, and if it's a change that they feel is for the best,
Hmm.
they wouldn't have to ask that first of all. And if it's for the best, they wouldn't even care what you think. They shouldn't care.
Yeah, correct, correct. That's absolutely correct. Because if you're going to change, you're going to do it because there's something inside you that decided to do it, not what other people think of it.
Right, right.
Good or bad doesn't make a difference. But you're making that change because of something, or at least attempting to make that change, with
Hmm.
something that changed in the core of who you are. But
Yeah,
but if it's true change, yeah, you're absolutely right. Why would you care about what somebody else think?
right, right.
Because if you do, then you're not doing change. You're trying to adapt. That's a totally different thing.
Well, you're trying to change circumstances without you actually changing yourself.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough.
And the interesting thing that told the story of everything is, whenever you read that part from Luke chapter 9, and each time, everybody, they say that they want to follow him, but every time they say, hold on, let me go and do this first, let me go back and do this,
Hmm.
I need to go back and do this first.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, now
and
you,
and and we've seen that throughout the entire culture, individually or from the world.
yes.
Scripturally, I mean, we see it over and over again. I mean, how many times did the Israelites promise this would be the
Mm,
last time? He had to save them again, over and over and over again,
mm-hmm.
because the core of the people, like you said, there's no real change. You are still going to be who you are,
Right.
you
Exactly.
know. And I think, I'm not sure, but I'm remembering something from Hulk a while back. Um,
Okay.
I think it was. Hold on a second. Let me find it.
Okay. That's
There
fine.
you go. Judges chapter 10 verses 16 through 14.
Mm-mm.
Um, that was really. Ever since he said it to me, I keep it up on my screen. I just had to open the browser to get it. But it's like, and the children of Israel. I'm sorry, I'm reading from the King James version. Sorry.
Okay. That's fine.
And the children of Israel did evil again in the sight of the Lord, and served Balaam and Asheroth and the gods of Syria and the gods of Zidon and the
Mm.
gods of Moab and the
Mm.
gods of the children of Ammon and the gods of the Philistines, and forsook the Lord and served him not. And the anger of the Lord was hot against Israel, and he sold them into the hands of the Philistines and into the hands of the children of Ammon. And that year they vexed and oppressed the children of Israel 18 years. All the children of Israel that were on the other side of Jordan in the land of the Amorites, which is in Gilead. Moreover, the children of Ammon passed over Jordan to fight against Judah and against Benjamin and against the house of Ephraim, so that Israel was sore distressed. Now, here's where it gets interesting, these last 3, 4 verses.
Mm-hmm.
And the children of Israel cried unto the Lord, saying, we have sinned against thee, both because we have forsaken our God and also served Balaam. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the Lord said unto the children of Israel, did I not deliver you from the Egyptians and from the Amorites, from the children of Ammon and from the Philistines? The Zidonians also, and the Amalekites and the Moabites did oppress you, and ye cried to me, and I delivered you out of their hand. Yet ye have forsaken me and served other gods. Wherefore I will deliver you no more. Go and
Mm-hmm.
cry. He said, and the last line is most important. Go and cry unto the gods which ye have chosen. Let them
Yes.
deliver you in the time of your tribulation. See,
Yes.
and that's the change part. No matter
Yeah.
no matter what they said, no matter what they promised, the core of who they are stayed the same.
Yeah.
They were wishy washy.
They
Let's
will
call it for
always
what.
go
Let's call it for.
stray.
Yeah, yeah. They were wishy washy, plain as day. You know, it's all good when everything's going fine.
Yeah.
You know, I'll be whatever you want me to be. But the
No,
slightest.
no. When everything is bad, I'll be whatever you want me to be. But whenever as soon as everything get good, yeah, I'm gonna go back and do what I do. That's what you
That's
talking
true.
about.
That's actually that's right. You're right. I'm sorry. I got it backwards. You're absolutely right. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Oh, you remember that, Ray? Yeah, but that's a good sign right there.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, you know, like he said, he saved them at least five different tribes.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes. And
And still you do this. And then at the end of the day, you know, it's like the kid who cried wolf, man. You know, yo,
right.
you handle it yourself, man.
Right. Yeah.
Handle it yourself.
Yeah. Go ahead. Go ask them people.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ask the people essentially slaved yourself out to help you now.
Yeah,
Ask them gods.
yeah,
Yes.
and that's why I tell people, you know, look, whatever path you follow, you know, you have to make that decision yourself,
Hmm.
but you need to be on a path because, as we've seen, the way the story ends, it's done. He's going with the best of the best. He's not even trying to help nobody else no more. He's not giving nobody else a chance. he's,
Hmm.
he's picking the best of the best, and then he's moving forward from there. Oh, what's up, Yuri? Shalom,
Oh,
shalom, brother. Namaste. Um,
yeah. What's good? All
so
right, all right.
you know that's where he's going with this, which is funny because, like I said, it goes right back into what Sigma says all the time. You
Mm-mm.
know, you can get mad all you want to, but you know, the Most High does eugenics too. You know,
That's right.
so
That's
you know,
right.
you can get mad all you, but he's been doing eugenics since day one. I'm
Yeah.
just saying. So
Everybody can't be there. He
yeah,
doesn't want everybody alone. You have you have to prove and show something to him. That's what this book is showing. You have to prove and show something to him of worth for him to want and desire you to be a part of what he has.
right.
I mean, you had entire phenotypes of people that he didn't want them dealing with,
Hmm.
and then he would let certain anomalies from those phenotypes come in because they had qualities that he felt were quality traits
Yeah.
that he wanted to be a part of their bloodline.
Well, absolutely. I mean, how do you think? How do you think with David having a great grandmother Ruth who was a Moabite? That's not an
Yes,
Israelite.
exact perfect example. Yes,
I mean,
yes, and
right
they
there.
right, and the Moabites were supposed to be one of the tribes that they were not supposed to marry or mate with.
He despised them. Those were the words
Yes,
he used.
yes, you were
Because if
supposed
you,
to destroy
yeah,
their idols and break them people.
right. Because if you remember, the Moabites were descended from the concept of incest. Because
Ah,
remember Lot's daughters raped him, thinking they were the last people on earth, and one of those kids were
yes,
named Moab.
right.
They were named Moab. So
That's
that's
right.
why he despised them.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yep. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's right.
Most High yo. He's hardcore about his.
Man,
He's
hey,
hardcore.
that's a good one for the
Yep.
yeah, I have to do that one for the Black Widows.
Yeah. But
Segment.
that's yeah.
Golly, yeah.
That's why he hates Moabites the way he does, because of the way they were created.
Yeah,
Because,
yeah.
like I said, they came out of Sodom and Gomorrah. The wife turned around, got turned to a pillar of salt.
Yeah.
Lot and his daughters hid in a cave. They whispered among themselves that they believed they were the last people on earth, and they wanted to have children. They got him drunk. You know, they assaulted
Yeah.
him, and then I don't remember which daughter it was, but one of
Mm-hmm.
them had a son, and they named him Moab, and that's
Yeah.
where the Moabite people come from.
And that is not the only time
No, it's not.
that
It's not the only
a
time.
man
Hmm.
has been had it forcefully taken from him.
Hmm.
I believe, was it Israel who was the other one when had promised uh a girl who was supposed to be his end up being his daughter-in-law, but his son had died, so it did not happen.
Hmm.
So she got him drunk whenever he was going somewhere and took it from him. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So she got out
and
the
and
child.
and
Yeah.
and if you go back a little farther, let's not forget. Even though we don't have an actual idea of what it was, we know something didn't go right with Ham and Noah,
Yes, I forgot. Yes, you're right. You're right.
because the same thing. Noah got drunk like all get out, and they said Ham uncovered his nakedness. Now, there's a
Yeah.
variety of ways that nakedness is used in Scripture. On the one hand, it literally means he saw his father naked, which he shouldn't. The second phrase is that it could also be interpreted that Ham assaulted his mother, because
Mm.
nakedness is also considered to be a sexual thing too. So, or he sexually assaulted his father. Take your pick. But there's a variety of ways that
Mm.
nakedness is used in Scripture. So that's
Yeah.
why it's always been open to interpretation on exactly what happened between Ham and Noah.
And also to just expose yourself as well, not in a physical manner, but yeah.
Right? Exactly. Exactly. Shalom, Doc. Shalom.
Yeah. Welcome
How
to
you
the
doing?
panel.
What's going on, Eisen? Mr. Perfect? How y'all doing today?
All right. All right. All right. Mister Perfect instead of Mister Terrific. I ain't mad. I'm not mad. I'm not mad. I'm not mad.
Nah, shalom to y'all, shalom to everybody. But yeah, Eisen, he messaged me today about he had to go in on some older geezers with this
Really.
title again. And I was like, you know what? Let me kind of get some action on this too. So,
Well, you so commonly hear that from old people.
oh yeah,
What
And
though?
yeah,
What about
when
changing?
when you say have changed, yeah,
Oh,
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
where they seek, they seek out validation for change and all that. When them people ain't changed. But go ahead, Sid.
no, you're absolutely right. And they always have this talking point where it's like, man, you changed a lot. I remember when you was doing this and that, and I'm saying to myself, time is slow for you because you want it to be slow.
Oh, nice.
Mm,
No, I like that. Nice.
mm,
I like that.
wow.
That's why they make that comment about you changed and everything because they're stuck in the past. They're the only group, at least my interactions, where they constantly hang to the past so much, and that's why I just came to the conclusion that for them time is slow because they want it to be slow.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's well. Looky here, man of the hour, man of tomorrow.
What's good,
Shalom,
MOT?
shalom.
What's up,
What's going on?
MOT?
What's going on, everybody? There's actually a translation matrix here. Like,
Yeah,
like, like,
Yeah.
like when they say that you changed, is that you are no longer beneath them. That's what that actually means.
you're
I,
not
Mm,
I,
wrong.
I can no longer control
mm,
your trajectory. You no longer look up to me as the actual apex of your masculinity. You changed.
Yep.
yeah.
You leveled up.
Mm-hmm.
You are
Yeah.
beyond me. Like that's what that means. And it's
Yeah.
like my grandfather told me about when you're in a better position in life and people are telling you that you changed. It was like this is what's behind that conversation.
Mm,
Mm.
That
mm,
Yeah.
you changed because you got more out of this environment than they did.
Yeah.
And
mm,
it makes them uneasy that you've changed. You found out that they're not the apex of shit. You found out that they're wasting a lot of time. You found out that they're not who they say they are. They're not really competing with anybody in society. They are really stagnant amongst even further more stagnant people. This is how come you have people who stagnate within those environments. That's why you have like the cool uncle and the cool auntie become the avatar of what most black men and boys see. They don't see the Robert F. Smiths in their fucking community and shit. Why?
Yeah.
Them dudes have been excised from the conversation. So the highest point that you can ever come to is a person who appeals to women or a fucking reptile, counterpart that fucking hides all the fucking or it's the PR squad for Keisha. It's just the
yeah.
same
Yes.
type of
Yeah.
person.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
So
That's
so
it. The PR squad for
yeah,
Keisha.
I like that. The PR squad. Yeah. And I agree with you 100%. But I'd like to just tack on real quick. So what you're saying is that no matter you're all people who actually achieve something like that will always be ostracized because they stick with the crabs in the barrel mentality. Is that what we're talking about?
Correct. And it's like it's a different type of ostracizing though. It's
Mhm.
ostracized because you became better. You can blow the whistle on everybody around by just being alive and breathing. You don't have to say shit. Because as
Yeah.
soon as you
Yeah.
say, okay, well, I got to go do X, what's X? How come you're not doing X? And that become a very uncomfortable conversation when you ask somebody, okay, so you know what successful people are. How come I've never met successful people? How come you're not doing successful things? So they
True.
create the situation where they alienate the person who's quote unquote different than everybody else.
Right. So the game plan is to alienate them and
Correct.
either work off of either guilt and shame
Yeah.
or cock block them from achieving their goals so they can fall right back down into the hole rabbit hole so they can be on top again.
Usually the blocking thing is first.
Well, yeah, that's one of the reasons. Like I
Yeah.
said, I stopped talking to my family. You know, like I said, every time I would talk to them about, well, at least back in the day, my goals, my dreams, my plans, it was always met with ridicule, or you just need to go get a 9 to 5 because they couldn't see past the 9 to 5. And like I said many a times before, one of the last conversations I had with my grandmother, and it was the one time she stepped out of the female frame and stepped into the truth frame. She said, "Well, fuck them, just leave them behind."
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, and I mean, and that's, I mean, I expect to hear that from my grandfather. You know, if he was alive, I know he would have said that. But like I said, with women and grandmothers and mothers, they have their system in play. They have their source code. They always have to fall back on. So for her to step out of that and tell me that was massive for me.
Yeah, it usually with women, it usually don't happen until they get old enough because
Yeah.
now
Yeah.
they know. Now they know it. They're at a point where like, yeah, there's no point in me. I'm old now. There's no point in me trying to manipulate you
Mhm.
now. So now it's like, yeah, whenever they're old and they can't do stuff anymore, now it's like, now I'm gonna tell you the truth. Which hey, it's
Mhm.
he should have done that.
Yeah.
It
And
should
I
have been
and as a
done
matter
often, but they'll never
yeah.
do it.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I go one step further because I remember William and I were talking about it one time, long time ago. He's like, okay, give her credit for stepping out of the space, but Granny's still Granny. From her
Yeah.
perspective, she was saving herself because if they wasn't gonna listen to you when you made it, she was gonna be there to get her cut. I was like, you know what?
Yeah.
You
That's the other
stupid.
thing too. No, that's the other thing too.
He said you got to keep in mind no matter what, she's still a woman. She's gonna hedge her bets, and she must have looked around, looked at all of us, and said you would have better bet. So I was
Yeah.
like, okay, I'll keep that in mind. But
And
but but that's that, that's the, but MOT's right. MOT's absolutely right. And
yeah,
like I said, I got a taste of that at my mother's burial when I told you to think about with my uncle. That's all that was.
yeah. And that whole point, of him talking about because I was coming to change from another standpoint. But him talking about that where he said, when they're like, "Oh, you changed because you ain't wait, hold on, you ain't like us." And the other thing too is they really never knew, and they think you changed because they're like, "Well, you weren't always like it." No, I was. You just didn't know me. And
Mm-hmm.
the other thing too was in my case, I have a aggressive personality when need be. Um, so because back then, I was smaller. They, people thought that I didn't have it, but no, they just didn't know that shit was reined in by my pops. And whenever he died, that was when it was like, oh yeah, the world got to watch out now because I don't have him chaining my monster up.
Yeah, yeah, yep. I get that. So let me throw a thought out. Just thought because I would really love to hear what each of you guys think of this. So so we have older generations, um, especially among men, but both sides,
Mhm.
where I wonder if that's why they're so adamant at being adverse to things like the internet because they knew if they learned the internet and they went on, they'd find out that people are telling them they got it wrong and they don't want to face that.
I, I don't think the internet is that. I
Mm,
think them trying to keep you blocking you from doing that. That's the main thing. Them
yeah,
trying to
yeah,
keep you from figuring it out them trying to keep you where your number one interest and only interest is the box. Is where it's
Mhm.
so they don't have to be like, yeah, damn, I'm the one that fucked up.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
we did wrong, so they don't have to admit that.
All right.
That's what I would say more so the internet. The internet thing is just, hey,
Mm.
it's something that they couldn't comprehend because they didn't have that type of technology in their time. Plus, since they're so stuck on the box only,
They
they
wouldn't
saw no
be.
benefit of being able to get the
Yeah.
box from the internet. But
Yeah.
anyways,
What do you think, Sigma?
Um, I'm kind of with Eisen on this one. I kind of
Cool.
look at it from the perspective of they. I'm just gonna call it like it is. The old geezers are jealous of the younger ones,
woo,
and the main thing they're jealous has a good portion of it has to do with technology, i.e.,
Hmm.
the internet and everything. Because think about it like this: let's say we travel all the way back to the 1950s before the civil rights movement.
Hmm.
Unless you had access to a public library or you were already traveling places to places, experiencing different cultures and all,
Right.
you was literally stuck where you are.
True.
So you
True.
had no choice but to kind of like, as they say, go with the protocols of the day. So if Nook and whoever was doing something in their watering hole and whatnot, hey, you had no choice but to kind of like blend in so you won't be ostracized. Whereas now, you can connect with anybody and everybody just with a push of a button. So when you made up in your mind that I'm not part of this, hive mind or crabs in the barrel mindset, you literally have the willpower to, you know, click on the internet, social media, and everything, and you can get other information that's not per se part of the group mind and
You,
everything. So
you could
that's
find
why
you could find your own tribe, is what you're saying.
exactly. And
Okay.
that's
Gotcha.
where I agree with you, Lawrence, that I think like the old geezers are jealous of the younger ones because they wish they had this access like we did now compared to what they had to go with, 50 or 70 years ago.
Right. Yeah. Because I went through that with my first wife because I had a whole lot of older male family members upset that she was white because they couldn't do that back then. No, no, I'm serious. I wish I was joking, but I'm not.
Hmm.
What do you think, MOT?
Um, Personally, you were only well within this context. You were only supposed to find your own tribe after the chances were over for yourself. That's when you got to find your own tribe where you couldn't try anymore. That's
Mm.
what their limitations was within their generation. They didn't
Ah,
figure out all the shit until they're already married and 60 years old and they got time to reflect. Well, these younger people, they don't need time to reflect. We got the results of their generation to look at, and they're getting better chances early. So, what they're trying
nice.
to do is stop you from engaging in the better chances and opportunities that they never got to actually engage in. Because if you make, like, to them,
Hmm.
I don't know why they think this, because they don't pay attention to other cultures. If you witness some type of success, it looks bad and down on them because they don't have success. Other cultures come here, work at a bakery, 20 some fucking years, raise very effective children
Yes.
to
Yeah.
supplant them, even though
Hmm.
they barely spoke the language and all that shit. And then they come on to be better American citizens, even though the parents never experienced the best of themselves. This is why they go to college more and all this kind of other shit.
Yep.
But they look at it as I want to be in charge because I want all the accolades. But I'm like, sometimes being in charge is just heading people off in the right direction and celebrating the fact that you're just a grown ass adult looking at what your sons and daughters have done, not what your sons and daughters can do better than you. And that's kind of where the thing kind of gets different because people don't want a smarter son. They don't want a smarter daughter.
Yeah.
They are scared of thee, but why question that goes too far that point the fingers in?
Right.
Well, you could just
Right.
like, look, all you gotta do is just say one time and one time only. I didn't have them opportunities in my generation, but I'm gonna make damn sure that you have it in yours. Problem solved. They get it.
Right.
You know what, MOT is something you brought up about they don't want a smarter son or smarter
Yeah,
daughter.
yeah, they don't want that.
That's where dysgenics come in, because you can plainly see clear as day as the generations go by, their intelligence, their adaptability keeps going down and
Yep.
down as the years go by.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. That's
Yeah.
But
correct.
there's a reason for that. There's a reason for that. They're
A
creating
couple.
non-adaptable children. So it's an upside down kind of pod here, where the most
Hmm.
capable people were in the 1800s, and then we created these group of people who was less capable, who had less, but because you had to have a lot of discipline back then to exist within the environment itself. In
Right.
every generation, you need less and less discipline to exist. And now we're at the point now to where you could be totally disconnected from society and still end up somehow making it in society. And we're at the point now to where, in order to reclaim this, we have to reclaim it from the male balance, because the women
Oh,
had their
absolutely.
opportunity to
Yeah.
create the type of family that they wanted. And you have to congratulation them on that. We know
Hmm.
what they think about it. We know what they thought about it with their choices and everything else. But now, if the average man can win, this whole shit, the system is destroyed. This whole thing was based on people not having choice. Now people have choice. So you can't outdo choice. Like, there is no better choice than fresh inventory. Like, you can't make an argument that's better than fresh inventory. You can't.
This is true.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is
Hmm.
this is true. This is true. And it's interesting because unfortunately, if we get down to the nitty gritty of it for them, it comes down to one word: jealousy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. That ego was something because them old rascals they really don't want the ones after them to be better. But that should be the goal of you as an old person. You should want them to make. You should want those younger than you to make better decisions, better choices, and to be better. Because if you're not getting better, you're getting worse. So instead of wanting them to get better, they want them to be worse.
Well,
Here's the
well,
thing,
well.
man.
Going,
They
well,
can live in
going.
the attic or the actual basement of the $1 million mansion, but they don't want to even do that. So I don't know, man. It's
Well,
hard for me. It's hard.
I was actually about to go back to something you had brought up, Mot, about how each generation, well, actually, you and Sigma, actually, each generation gets less and not just a lack of integrity, motivation, or intelligence, but also they become what's the I had the word and I lost it that quick. Um, well, I guess I can't
Less
find it, but
motivated, unmotivated.
Sigma
well,
said less adaptable, which I think is
yeah, it's
pretty
that's
spot
good.
on.
Yeah, yeah. I had another word,
Yeah.
but I can't remember it. But we'll go with Sigma with less adaptable, and I think it's a combination of two things. On the one hand, it's exactly what you guys said about parents not wanting the child to be better than them, et cetera, and so on, or whatever have you may. And also, technology has made it so much easier to not have to do things. It's not the same as your mom and dad making you go work the farm in the morning because that's all you were going to have to eat if you didn't. It's not the same when you have to go all the way down like half a mile to the creek to wash your clothes. I mean, and we made it a lot easier for them. And it's not just us. Every generation has made it easier technology wise for the generation to come after, that they start feeling they don't have the need to learn the tough stuff just in case. Because
Well,
like with my daughters, you know, sure, we're in a time frame now that there's a technology pretty much makes everything easy. But make no mistake, I've also taught them what to do because technology won't necessarily always be around, and I'm
well,
never going to have a moment where I should feel shamed because they did better than me. Because truth of the matter, that's my job, that's my focus. They're supposed to. Every generation is supposed to do better. To me,
well, the thing is, you can't perceive something you can't fathom. They can't perceive anything tough whenever they've never had their own. The people that are supposed to be teaching them, they never had them be tough on them because they want to give them everything that they couldn't have, and that is the problem.
yeah,
Human beings will never appreciate and respect things that are given to them. They can only appreciate and respect things that they have earned.
Well, that's true. Yeah, absolutely. Well, and that's everybody. No matter, no
Yes,
matter, no
that's why I
matter
said
what.
human beings.
Yeah, 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 absolutely, absolutely. It doesn't make a difference where you come from. That's just the nature of things. You're never going to respect it unless you work for it, because there's just a greater appreciation for what it took.
Yes.
Um, but Don, um, I don't know what you mean by an advantage over the boomers. I guess you're talking about tech.
Yeah. Well, the thing
Um,
is, here's the thing. I mean, it can be an advantage if used wisely, like anything can be.
right, true, true. That's true.
Especially if you have the motivation to to create an advantage for yourself. Most don't have they don't have the want or desire to create an advantage for themselves. So.
Yeah, true. That's true. That's true.
Yeah, but
But
what I
like,
think I got,
no. No. Go ahead, please, please.
I think we have the wrong combination, toxic combination of ignorance and stagnation that is kind of
Mm,
converged on each other. And as the generations go on, the fists get tighter and tighter and tighter from actually participating in the very society that you're complaining about. It's kind of like you're in a field, but the field is surrounded by fruits and vegetables. But you're like on like a rock road clearing, and you want to grow fruits and vegetables from the rock road rather than to go out into the field where you can clearly see it and go get it from there. So it's like they want to do things the hardest way imaginable to waste the most amount of time so that way there'll never be any progress for themselves or anybody else.
But is that
So that
but do they but would you say they do that in an attempt to give the impression that they're greater than what they are?
correct.
Because there are some people who love to live by the martyr concept. Let's be real.
Yes.
mm.
I do everything hard, everything I sacrifice. I mean, there literally are people who live that way. They really do.
Yeah, and
But
most of them are minimum wage who think they're worth a hell of a lot more than what they're making. And if you ask them what they've done, so all the hard times come from the choices that they made, not the circumstances that could have been, but the choices that they deliberately made that other people seen that you ain't supposed to be doing. So they did the
mhm.
hard shit. They get the hard life. Then they want the credit for having a hard life when the hard life was based on the dumbass decisions that they made,
Right.
not that
Right,
they sacrificed anything.
Yeah.
So
right,
that's
right.
yeah.
Because I'm sorry. Go ahead, Sigma.
Oh no, I was going to say it kind of reminded me of a situation that I just almost finished off earlier this year. So my previous job, I was kind of working in kind of more so like customer service IT,
Hmm.
kind of helping out and such.
Oh, you talking about help
And
desk?
yeah, help
Yeah.
desk.
Okay, got you.
And my former supervisor, sad to say, a black woman. Now, surprisingly, she was competent to an extent, and I'm gonna tell you what extent I mean. So, obviously, right now, America's going through a staff shortage, you could say, and especially in help desk, they've kind of been feeling the pinch. So, I recently got promoted to kind of like an artificial intelligence developer for chatbots. You can say a chatbot analyst and everything. So my job now is kind of like feed information into the chatbot, see if it can recognize certain behaviors and all, and be able to give certain responses based off of those behaviors. And it is really amazing job and whatnot. So when my new boss was getting ready to transfer me over to the new position and everything, the old supervisor was hesitant and was actually begging if I could help out a little bit on the help desk because they were short staffed. And come to find out, um, this woman is having bad hiring issues when it comes down to replacement because even some people that come in for the interview for the help desk and all, she would deem them not worthy and make the excuse of, well, because we're still short staffed, Sigma, we should still utilize it and everything. Once they kind of found out what she was doing, um, my current boss was like, nah, Sigma, we need him at a chatbot position. This is more important than what's going on in the help desk. And what I find interesting is that non-black folks are more willing to promote competent black men and really put them in position of success than other black folks.
Man.
And,
Well,
and go ahead, Lars.
well, first of all, that's been the case for a long time. People don't want to realize that. As I've said
Mm-hmm.
many a times, I wouldn't be where I am if I didn't have a lot of people who took the time to mentor me, whether in small or large capacities, or I had people who gave me a shot, or people who would at least listen to me. And I must admit, 90 to 95% of them did not look like me. And I'm being honest about that. I'm not trying to tear anybody down, but that's facts. And I got people who would pretty much say the same damn thing I said. And the interesting part about what you said about the lady is that, unfortunately, that's not a male or female thing. And to be honest, it's not necessarily only a black thing either, because people who have hiring capabilities to do interviews and stuff. First of all, they're not trained on how to do interviews properly. Let's establish that right out the gate. But second of all, they'll always have a tendency to throw people away because they consider them to be a threat to their position. They don't want anybody, it used to be you hire the best and the brightest and everything falls where everything falls. If they're good enough to move forward, then they move forward. But it hasn't been that way in a long time. It's merit-based stuff is just out the window.
Yeah.
It's about job security, and I'm not going to hire somebody who's as good or better than I am because he could take my job or advance ahead of me, and that's all that is. And like I said, that's not a male female thing. That's not a black white thing. That's a human being thing. I know it sounds stupid, but
Right,
No.
and I get that, but just you know, as they say, my truths and everything. I
oh
hate using that
yeah,
term,
Yeah.
but it's kind of same line with you, Lawrence. A lot of my advancements, especially in my career, in schooling and whatnot, and even like as far as traveling and all, have really come from non-black folks who have realized that hey, Sigma, you actually care about life.
yeah.
And sad to say, most of the individuals that I raised up with that share the same phenotype, they don't care about life. They just care about, hey, as long as nothing around me changes, I'm good where I'm at.
Well, the weird part about that is that if for myself, because that's all I could speak on for myself. I've had a variety of like I said, all kinds of people who didn't look like me help me through. If they didn't outright help me, they pointed me in the right direction. They gave me something. They didn't just like
Mm-hmm.
leave me standing outside in the rain. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And the interesting part about that is that there's a significant number of those people who did that for me who were white, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a larger portion who weren't white.
Mm.
As strange,
Mm.
because and Yuri and I talk about this a lot when we call each other. Um, for me, I fall in that category, and I'm sure you guys do as well. And Eisen, you and I talked about this as well. When men like us who look like us go through life where we interact with other cultures and we carry ourselves well during that process, we are loved. And when I
Oh
say
yeah.
loved, I'm talking about we are cherished. Seriously. Because for people from other cultures to see men like us who look like us that act and do what we do, it's a treasure to them. Because from their perspective, we're not supposed to be that. So again, from my experience, when I run across Spanish people, East Indians, Chinese, Japanese, yada 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 yada, the steps that they're willing to go through for me, once they realize, who I am and what I am, as opposed to what people have always told them we're supposed to be. Oh, they go all out of their way. They go all out for me,
Yeah.
and
You,
that's
you
and,
know,
and that's a wonderful, beautiful thing.
You know,
So
Lawrence is something you mentioned because my current boss, he's actually Latino.
mhm.
He's an information technology manager, and the position I'm in now is actually going to be the first position where I'm actually going to be running a small team for like the
Nice.
AI chatbot and everything. And
Oh
he
wow.
told
Okay.
and he told me straight up, he's like, Sigma, I'm leaving it all in your hands. I trust your judgments and everything. Um, Essentially, you run the team how you want to run it, and it goes right back.
He gave you carte blanche.
Oh
Okay.
yeah,
Uh,
it goes
yeah.
right back what you talk about. They non-black folks love black men who have shown that they can handle the job,
Yep.
and they're willing to give you the keys to whatever whatever you're doing. So it's like
Yes,
when you was
sir.
telling me that is my boss. He was like, "Yeah, man, your team, you can run it however you want. Um, Essentially, I leave it all to you, how you want to run the chatbot and everything and such. It's like, and
Mhm.
I'll check in once a month, to see how things going. But other than that, he's like, this whole project is all you. So it's like, man,
And you know what's going to happen. And I'm just taking a shot in the dark because it has happened with me. Not a lot, but it has happened a couple of times. You do the job well. You stay on point. After a certain point in time, it moves from business to personal.
mm-hmm.
It
Oh yeah.
ended. I mean, I ended up
Hmm.
having a couple of bosses who were real heavy on introducing me to their daughter. For real, for real. No, I'm serious. Well, it's like we talked about before with the guys with CISBIM and stuff like that. You have to understand for other cultures outside the U.S., marriage is a business proposition.
Oh
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
It has nothing to do with romantic love or any of that nonsense. This is a business proposition. They want to
Yeah.
make
Yep.
sure your genes are legit to carry on. They want to make sure you're financially legit. And I don't mean just that you won money through the lotto. It's not about cash. It's about a wealth mindset. That's what they care
Mm-hmm.
about.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
you're right.
and
You're right.
a lot of people don't understand that. It's not about you having $1 million in your bank. It's about, do you have $1 million mindset? That's
Yeah.
what they care about.
Yeah.
Because what you have short term means nothing to them. They're worried about the long term because they do exactly what we should be doing, but we're not, and that's building generational wealth.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is man, because I have plenty of Hispanic friends, and and the thing is, the ones that I met, that it's pretty much they call me familiar now.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's the one thing about it when it comes to that point, they see you as family whenever it comes in, and they'll say, I'm not gonna just let anybody come to my home.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh, Isaac, small world. So my boss, not too long ago,
Hmm.
introduced me to his wife. Come to find out, I actually went to high school with her.
Oh
Nice,
wow.
nice,
What?
nice.
So
Nice.
already,
Wow. Yeah.
and from what I understand, once she found out that I was hired, um, she put in like good words to my boss in his
Oh
head and
yeah.
everything. So I
Oh,
was
you
like,
good.
oh, so pretty much your wife kind of already gave me the seat
The
for the
okay,
job.
yeah. You good. You good.
But yeah, but like I said, none of this can take place until you change.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said before, the core person is always going to be the core person. I think the thing here is, it goes back to what Eisen said. You want to change the circumstances, but you don't want to change your actions to
Yeah.
achieve those
Yeah.
circumstances.
Right.
So we're not talking about you changing as a core person. We're talking about you changing your actions so you can get different results. Because like the saying goes, repeating the same thing
Mm.
and getting the same results is insanity. I
Well,
mean,
no, expecting different
yeah,
results would be
expecting
Yeah.
different. Yeah, I'm
insanity.
Each
sorry.
time.
Thank you. Thank you. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You good?
But thank you. You knew where I was going.
Yeah.
But it's absolute insanity. And like I said, the change. And the thing about it is that the change that's necessary, again, doesn't have to be your core person. You can still be who you are. What has to change is the way you interpret things, the way you look at them, the way you react to them, the way you deal with them. The choices is what it
Basically,
comes down to.
your
Yeah,
focus and your interests. I mean,
right.
if your
Because
interests don't change, ain't none of that other stuff gonna change, man.
Well, I mean, it's just like a friend of mine. You know, I mean, yo, he can call and repeat stats on every rap song going all the way back to 1977. He's got the lyrics down, he's got the bass down, he's got the beats, he knows how to move this, he knows how to move that. Great. What is that doing for you?
Mm.
Mm,
You know, and I remember someone had asked me before, you know, how do I go about like constantly taking in all that data without it driving me crazy? And I said, you just got to replicate what you love the most. You know, for me, it's comic books. I'm insane with comic books. I mean, minute detail that's insane. I should not know, but I love comic books. So what I do is I take the fact that I love comic books and I'm able to remember that kind of detail. Why do I? And then I take little bits and pieces of that and I try and transfer it over to when I'm learning something else or trying to take in data, you know, and try to replicate it so that way it sticks. But with all that passion, when you can like when you can name the chicks in the video who are dancing from 1980, but you're not doing, I mean, you understand what I'm saying? You got that ability, that mindset to be able to memorize all that kind of data. Why wouldn't you transfer that ability into something that's more productive? That you can use to make money, build a house, whatever, you know, just something other than memorizing the shape of somebody's ass. I mean, come on.
And you know, Lawrence, that right there is a prime example of adaptability. You know, so many people try to focus on the high IQ and everything, but real intelligence is based on how much can you adapt to a changing environment? How much can you take a circumstance and spin it to where it's productive for yourself? And not only yourself, but even the people that are around you. And to me, that's where adaptability comes into play. Not many folks is going to have that capability of, you know, like you were showing with the rap music, see something like that and how can you make it productive for yourself? And also, are you capable of making it productive for everybody who's around you in that form of fashion?
Right.
If you can't do that, that shows that you don't really have that much intelligence or capabilities to be able to be productive in society. So that's why, you know, you hear these guys, especially, you know, in the so-called manosphere, want to talk about high Q and everything and such, and I'm like, high IQ doesn't really perform to productivity because you can have some people that have a high IQ but they're not productive.
Right.
Adaptability is what's going to show you, can this person be productive in society.
Well, yeah, and that goes back to a conversation I had with Judzilla last night, and I've had with Zero and a couple of you guys. That's why I feel the way I do about this whole thing about do you have a degree? It's stupid.
mm,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Because
crazy.
like I
yeah.
because I know Judzilla and I talked about it for a minute, and I had to tell him because he had asked me why am I so adamant about that. I said because you got to understand the only thing that degree does for me or anybody else, it just proves we're good at memorizing
Mm,
shit. That's all.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's all.
Yeah.
Outside of that, it might open a couple of doors depending on your network, but that's all you're going to get. And I
No.
said, with all due
Yeah.
respect, 50% of us who have it don't even work in what we got it in.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, yeah.
how is it possible for me to have any respect for that? I said, I got mine. There's nothing I do that even remotely comes close to what I got mine in.
Lars, boy, you should have listened when we had the last war room because we talked about degrees
Yes,
and
y'all did.
I'm
how
sorry. I'm sorry.
degrees.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Real quick. Yuri wanted to know
Yeah,
if you could.
I've
Oh, okay. I'm
already.
sorry. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Sigma. I'm sorry.
But no, we was talking about that heavily. How degrees does not mean, so to speak,
Intelligence.
intelligence,
Hmm.
because
Or
like you pointed
accomplishment.
out, or yeah, or
That's right.
accomplishment,
That's right. Or accomplishment.
because
That's correct.
you can have the highest degree in whatever field you have, but if you again comes down back to adaptability, if you don't know how to be productive in society, that degree means squat. And for the most
Yeah.
part, sad to say, most people that come out of colleges that have even a bachelor's degree, let alone a master's or a PhD, are not that intelligent with productivity in society.
Not at all.
That's true. That is true.
Yes.
That is
All right. Well,
that
let
is
me give you an actual example.
yeah.
Like I had a marksman with a pistol and a rifle. Did that help me in sniper school? No, because it was adaptability and it was actually productivity, and the directions were simple. So if you tried to ride off of your actual marksmanship and not really pay attention to the mechanics of what was going on, you fail. Every single time you didn't get lucky. There was no
Yep.
luck in that. It was
Yep.
a very specific skill based on following particular directions. And most of the people who was very good at that were very good at following simple directions. And it was the same, like the best people who drove stick with trucks never even had a driver's license. Why? Paying attention to the mechanics of what's going on. So it's like a lot of these people think that having that said accomplishment is really going to push you. No, you were good in that competition, whatever it was. It's not going to help you be adaptable to everything else that happened in society. It's just not going to help you.
No, it's not. And like I said before, and this is one of the reasons why, and I'm taking a shot in the dark here. I believe this is one of the reasons why the usual suspects won't talk to me because they've heard what I've had to say about those degrees. And either they're like me with PhDs or whatever have you may and all that good stuff. They know I'm not gonna. It's not gonna end well. I mean, it's just not. And don't get me wrong. I have nothing personal against degrees. I think everybody should expand their mind. I really do. My problem is when you start taking it to a level where you make it the end all be all, and that's not how it works.
Exactly.
It just doesn't. I'm emailing it to him, Eisen, if that's okay.
Okay, that's fine. That's
And
fine. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and it like Lawrence, like as somebody who even have my degree in mathematics, which is something that I can expand upon in any direction I want to go to.
Hmm.
Even I will tell somebody, unless you know what degree you're going to get that is going to have you in a position to be productive, I'm kind of one where unless you know what you're going to do in college from the get go, you may want to maybe look at some trade school before you look at going to college.
Well, absolutely, absolutely,
Absolutely.
absolutely, 100%. Now, look, I'm sitting here. Look, I'm sitting here with two bachelors, a master's, and a PhD. And I'm telling you, the first bachelor's degree I got is the only one that matters for what I'm doing. That's logistics and international business management.
Mm-hmm.
The other one in criminology, I might have used it briefly when I was a fraud investigator, but outside of that, nothing. The master's degree is in metaphysics and comparative religion, nothing.
Mhm.
And the doctorate is in philosophy, nothing. That's why I have a problem with people who throw these degree things out. You cannot throw that at me when I'm sitting here with somebody who has it and I know what you're doing. And that's nothing. I
Right.
know. You
Right.
can't blow smoke up my ass. I know. Because if you look, like there's a couple of guys in here with PhDs in philosophy like me, right? Okay. Here's the thing. You really only have two options with a degree with a PhD in philosophy. You either become a professor or you work for a think tank. Now here's
Yes.
my math. All you dumbasses I see sitting on in this space, you're not doing either one of them. So you're not gonna sit here and blow smoke up my ass saying the degree matters. It doesn't. It doesn't. Because best believe if you were part of a think tank, you'd be bragging on it. You would. If you were a college professor, you'd be throwing that in people's faces, telling them, "You can't say nothing to me. I teach," because
Right.
that's what they do.
Yeah.
So I know you don't got it because you ain't bragging on it. So come on, nah,
And,
nah,
yeah, and
no,
you know, but it's
no.
something else though. But it's actually something else. It's a degree of accomplishment to people who don't know what accomplishment is or the pathway it is. So they think their degree supplements productivity when you could teach a
Mm.
class on history
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
or in any other type of history that is on a degree path to somebody becoming a programmer or anywhere else. They'll think that because I got a history degree and I teach history, I'm just as productive as the person who graduates from school to go on to be something else because they're part of the process.
We'll
But
look
it's
at
like,
some
yeah,
of the most successful people. I mean, you got Bloomberg, Ross
yeah,
Perot, the list goes
yeah,
on. Never finished high school, not a single
yeah.
freaking
Mm-hmm.
degree.
Mhm.
So degrees are not a measurement of productivity or success. They just aren't.
It's not even a degree of adaptability either.
Or
Because
even
after they get
intelligence.
those degrees, they stop growing as a person. That's what happens.
Yep,
Yeah.
and they become drones, cogs
Yeah.
in the machines.
Yeah, it's not the bar
Um,
for intelligence either. But
exactly,
welcome to
exactly.
the
Yep. Yeah, namaste,
panel,
namaste, Yuri, namaste.
Shalom, everybody. Just y'all be talking about my favorite topic these days, man. I was just talking about this with Judge yesterday. The whole degree topic. We
That's probably how we got on it last night. Okay.
yeah, like you got you got a lot of quote unquote seniors or elders in this space that love to be degree hustlers. I ain't naming names now,
Hmm.
but for some reason I was listening to somebody's stream, and that same person said, "Oh, well, you don't need a degree to get a good job these days." And I was like, "Oh, well,
Hmm.
you know, I done said it 3 years ago, but you know, now he coming around to it like he didn't say the other shit while I was on panels talking.
Yeah.
We ain't gonna talk about that."
Because at any given moment, man, I can give a list of two careers that easily start you off at the low six figures that don't require a degree.
Right,
Hmm.
Easy.
right.
And let's just be honest too. As much as you got guys in this space that want to hustle the degree corner and everything, if you truly have a degree that's productive, you wouldn't be spending a lot of time in on YouTube trying to, so to
That's
speak,
correct.
hustle it.
That is
And,
correct.
and this is why this is another aspect of again where it's like the more productive person is going to spend less time on YouTube, and if they are on YouTube, they're just going to give just some intake here and there, and then they're offline doing more productive stuff.
Hey, Eisen Yuri. Did I not say that to you earlier today, Eisen? And did we not talk about that on Friday, Yuri?
Oh, of course.
That's real.
Yeah.
It's just, and I'm not trying to give him a hard time, but I'm just making an observation here. G with a PhD, it don't mean nothing. Like I said, the change is not no, seriously, the change is
Yeah,
not
no.
real.
Of course.
He's still the same core dude from the
Of course.
hood. He's
Without a
still the
doubt.
same core dude from the hood. He just happens to have a piece of paper. And the same thing applies to me. I'm from the hood in Brooklyn. I just happen to have a piece of paper. That's it. Nothing
Yeah.
more, nothing less.
And to the hear what Adon Hey Maestro, putting up. What if the work standard degree needed just another separator of race and class? Well, here's the thing. Most times, what I find in, most people that get hired, man, they're hiring their buddies and stuff.
Yeah.
That's right.
Hmm.
I
That's
mean,
right.
that's the
Networking.
problem. And one thing that I do learn too, it's not always a good idea to be hiring your friends. A
True.
lot of times
That's right.
you gotta fire your friends, because if you don't fire your friends, they're gonna get your ass fired. But
They're gonna
moving on.
drag you down with them.
Yep.
They're gonna drag you down with them.
So
People hire to protect the culture.
Yes.
They don't hire
Exactly.
for productivity. They're trying to protect because here's the thing: managers who are not really all that accomplished can always hire better workers.
Right.
Always.
Right.
Hmm.
Right.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
yeah,
And going back to the question that Don had asked, there's another aspect to the race and class. Well, especially the class.
Mhm.
Especially when you look at the predominant people in university now and getting degrees are women.
Mm.
It's only an attempt to hold up that they think they're a better level of social class than people who don't have them.
Mm-hmm.
right.
And that's what the men are doing in this space, who are always pushing about degrees. It has nothing to do with productivity. They're just trying to establish that they're higher above than everyone else.
And,
And again, as I've said many a times
Without
before,
proof. Without
exactly.
proof.
And as I've said many a times before, my cousin William did not get his GED till he was in his 30s. Smartest motherfucker I've ever met. I go to my grave with that.
So basically, what you just said was, is these Negroes are trying to hold up and create a female social class system with dudes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah, they females too.
And here's the thing about it. Not only are they doing that, but they're hoping that them having degrees is going to make the women want them.
Yes. Hey,
Tell me I'm
hey,
wrong.
no.
Did I nail it? Did I nail it?
It always goes back to what Zero said. And this is the other reason why I did the last two about the old niggas and then, change. Because whenever I got asked what my two interests were, and theirs were pussy and money. Now, let's keep it real. The money is only about pussy, just getting a different kind. That's all. It's only getting access to a different kind.
Yeah,
So it's really only one pussy.
Yeah, and I said that a year ago on Agon's channel. I said, look, I would prefer you ignore pussy as a whole. Focus on you. Whether it's getting your bag or just doing you, I don't care what it is, but focus on you. But if you are going to go after a woman, at least increase your status and your bag so you can choose from a better quality of them.
But here's my thing, Lawrence. If you are solely going to school and you are solely going to get your bachelor's degree, hoping to get a female, your priorities is way.
Well, you're going to fail. Well, you're going to fail because this is why you're going to fail. Because just like anything else in life, when you do something for the sake of trying to impress or whatever to other people, it will always fail. Whatever you do has to be done for you. Now, what comes of that afterwards? That's a totally different story. But you cannot. It's no different than a drug addict. That drug addict is not going to quit because his mom is hurting. He has to want that himself. You understand what I'm saying? That's the only way that's going to work.
And the thing is, it's not just going to school to get degrees or anything. I mean, these dudes in everyday life, everything they do, from the hood stuff to just trying to get 2 and 3 jobs inside, whatever side money they can get, is all because of that. And whenever I told them that my interests were power and freedom, I mean, it floored niggas. It's like, oh. You are different. Maybe you're not for around here.
Yeah.
No shit. I've been telling you niggas that forever.
Isaac, you leaving the all omnipotent pussy on the table?
Man, here's the
table.
thing.
For somebody else to take?
I left it on the floor. It doesn't even have a right to sit at my table.
Here's the funny part about it. Because they're so short-sighted, this shows their level of intelligence too. Whenever you have power, it automatically comes anyway.
That's true.
It automatically comes.
This is why they want to throw productivity off of the actual thing. They want you to specifically get it off mouthpiece alone or situational awareness that you can't verify alone. But it's another thing that they're trying to do is they're trying to remove the basis of masculinity off the table to her choosing ability as the actual means of productivity. Like, you're not it's kind of like I have a last name coming up called educated but still unproductive. At the end of the day, if you're still trying to appeal to the same end goal and focus of person who's not producing at all, it doesn't matter how many 55 degrees you can have. If you're not trying to take meaningful action, regardless of what degree you have, because my degree is in project management.
Right.
IT project management.
MBA, if I remember correctly.
Yep, MBA. And it's like, but Do you ever hear me talking about or leaning upon my military experience or anything else? No. What I'm doing is directly tied to what I'm doing. So, if I own a transportation company, it'll look pretty crazy about me talking about an associate's degree or a bachelor's degree or a master's degree or halfway through a doctorate in anything that ain't got to do with transportation because you can't get degrees in this. You can only be uh, successful and accomplished or have well intentions and not accomplish shit.
Hmm.
Right. Yeah.
And a lot of people don't understand that you can still take meaningful action without paperwork. You
Yes.
Yes.
don't
Right,
need
Yes.
paperwork to
right.
have
Yeah.
success. You
We
Yeah.
look.
don't.
We've gotten to the point. It's just like when I have some dudes who ask me about mergers and acquisitions, and they're trying to get an understanding, and I tell them, look, what we're really talking about here, bottom line, is investment banking. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Now, would having degrees in finance help? Sure, sure, but do you need it? Hell no.
and, and
So
the
so
oh
so
my
so
bad.
why I'm sorry, my apologies. So why would I have you blow 200, 300 grand on something that I know I can get you into for pennies on the dollar? There's no logic in that.
Mm. Yeah.
Hmm.
There's
Yeah.
and it's the same thing with real estate. Like I was talking to Eisen earlier, you can get into real estate without needing a real estate license. You'll start on the bottom, but trust and believe that bottom ain't that bad. You
No,
still making some good
not at
Hmm.
money.
all.
Yeah.
I mean, whether you're a wholesaler, bird dogger, six half for a dozen, you're easily going to make $2,500 a pop minimum.
Yeah.
It's
Mm.
not
I mean,
hard.
you know, it's
You've done real estate, so
yeah,
you know I'm
yeah.
telling the
But
truth.
like, it's weird. Like most people think that you need a lot more to get into an industry than you actually do, right?
Hmm.
I would say, and this is something people can take. If you're walking into an industry without no paperwork, without understanding anything, the first thing that you have to understand is you have to walk in with yourself, meaning your word, your stick to itiveness, all these kind of soft skills, right?
And one more, if you don't mind me, real quick.
Good.
You got to be freaking humble.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right.
Hmm.
Mm.
So you walk into a real estate office, talk to the agents, and say, "Hey, look, uh, I'm really interested in real estate, and I'm really looking for a way to actually get into real estate. Is there anything I can do for any of you guys that you guys would want me to do that you guys aren't doing, but you guys need an extra pair of hands or anything else?" I'm
Yep.
going to tell you something. They're going to say, "Well, technically, I need somebody to man an open house because technically I've got a couple open houses. You're going to have to sit there in the house and just make sure that everybody walks in and signs a sign-in sheet."
Yep.
That's like one of your first things. Or they might have you hang signs or whatever. But the thing is, you're playing for the long payoff. Meaning,
Exactly.
meaning the money that you make is not the issue. The fact that you've built rapport with somebody who's going to be able to help you later on
Mentor.
is the most important thing, because all of a sudden when he sees you being able to do the small job, he'll give you a little bigger job. And technically it'll be one of those things that all of a sudden when he sees you doing things the way he used to do them, he's going to be like, "Hey, maybe you want to go get your real estate license and kind of work under me in a different role or something like that," right?
Yeah.
So it's just one of those kinds of things. The fact that you need a degree, this, that, and the other, all that stuff is secondary, because for all these educated people out here that don't understand that the reason that you need a degree is for pedigree and legacy, which most of you people that are going to college don't have, which most of the colleges you are going to don't have, completely invalidates the fact you need a degree.
Yep.
For
That's
all these people that are quote unquote educated, PhDs, masters, G's with PhDs, whatever, right? Like And that's not a slight to him. That's just something I remember off the top of my head. The situation is you need pedigree and legacy. There's a reason that people that go to Harvard and Dartmouth and stuff like that are getting further across the line in their first job when it would
Mhm.
take you 10 to 15 years to get to that same job. It's
Like I like I
because
like I said, that paper's for networking. That's
yeah,
all it's for. That's all
And,
it's for.
and one thing, you're listening to your information on the housing and whatnot. The key word that I got out of that is patience.
of course
You
you have
Yeah.
to
know,
have.
it's not something that you're just going to just fall in and have this wealth overnight. It requires patience.
Yep.
But when you have a group of people who want instant gratification, that's
That's it.
why
That's
That's
it.
that's
true.
why they're so hyped up about the music industry, the sports
Hmm.
industry, because they feel like once you get into there, that's you're an instant millionaire and whatnot. Not realizing that that industry has a short cutoff. So you have no choice but to be patient in whatever endeavor you're going into because it requires it. But when you have a culture that preach instant gratification, patience just goes out the window.
Also, to follow there with what you said about the as far as them wanting to be in entertainment, because that's all it really is.
Hmm.
Um, the problem also with this culture and these people is that they actually think that money is power.
Right.
You know,
Right.
I've
Right.
had
Right.
I've had someone say, that money is power. Without money, you ain't got power. I said, no, you fool. I said, if you give a fool $1 million, what do you got? I said, only thing you got is a fool with $1 million. I said, anybody with money and knows how to get money can tell you that power is knowledge and then the wisdom of knowing how to apply that knowledge. I
I
was like,
Exactly.
look.
Look at these lottery winners. They say 90% of lottery winners go bankrupt within the first 2 years of winning the money.
mhm.
It
I'll
shows you
say.
right then and there.
I'll say.
Power, if you don't know how to utilize it, it's pointless.
I'll say it again. I've said it since I had my first job at 14, and I've been saying it ever since. People need to get it right in their head. Money is nothing, absolutely nothing but a tool. That's
Mhm.
all. That's all it is. And that's all it ever will be. It is not power. It is not wealth. It is simply a tool. Can it help you get the other two? More than likely, if you use it properly, but it's still just a tool.
Mhm.
That's all it ever will be. And it's only a useful tool if you know how to wield it properly.
Exactly.
So,
Right?
I mean, seriously, I mean, it is what it is.
Yes.
You know,
But
I
they don't
was
understand that. They equate. See, okay, money makes you rich, but it doesn't make you wealthy. Nor does it get. It's like that contractor thing. You can have
Mm.
good, you can have cheap, and you can have fast. You can have two out of the three, but you can never have all three. You understand what I'm
Mm.
saying? Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Mm.
you understand what I'm saying?
Mm.
that's right.
You can always have two out of three, but you can never have all three. Never.
That's right.
Yes.
And that's how you have to look at money, wealth, and power. It works like that.
Yeah. Yeah. It does. It does. Well.
So I mean, it just is what it is. And just like Yuri was saying with the talking to a real estate agent and stuff like that. That's why I had to throw that extra soft skill in about being humble, because when my cousin William started his landscaping thing, he was doing little penny ante jobs here and there, and that's cool. Get yourself
Mhm.
established, no problem. But yo, I got a couple of real estate guys I know down there. Go into the office, and I told him to do exactly what Yuri just sat here and said, damn near word for word. And what did they do? Well, we got a couple of houses we need to get cleaned up and make look good for sale. So could you go
That's
by and hit the lawn and edge everything up? Now he's got well, like he likes to call them corporate clients.
there you go.
It's just
Mhm.
that simple. I've had other people go in talk to real estate agents. Did they have signs to put out? No. Did they have anything for them to do? No. But hey, look, this family just moved out. The house is available. We need somebody to go in there and clean it. And for all you know, instead of real estate, you might end up in property preservation. That's
Hmm.
still good money too, because you can get contracts with banks for all the houses they have listed in foreclosure to go in there, clean it up so they can resell it. I mean,
That's
there's crazy ways. There's crazy ways.
I'm go
You don't need a license to do real estate. I'm telling you.
I'm going to tell y'all something that's kind of interesting. Uh, there's a guy I used to watch on YouTube. He's like an eBay reseller, and and peep this out for anybody that's listening in the chat. What he used to do to get free inventory is he would take houses that he would get assigned, and most of those houses would be foreclosures or whatever. So there'd be stuff that would be left over.
Hmm.
The deal with you actually doing the cleanup is you get to keep everything that's in the house
Yes. Yeah.
because all the they want everything moved. So a lot of times what would happen is the stuff that they couldn't take, they would keep in the house. Now
Hmm.
he was industrious enough to see like DVDs here, video games there, DVD players, everything that they couldn't take or didn't want to take or whatnot. He's like, hey, this is like $2,000 worth of free equipment that I can just throw on Craigslist and eBay and make quick money with.
Hmm.
So like the thing is, one thing leads to another, right?
Hmm.
So yeah, like anything that you want to do, there's money everywhere. And the issue is that we've got people thinking that there's not money in what there's money in because they can't see things correctly. They haven't been taught to see everything the way that they should be able to see things.
Well, it's funny. Well, it's funny you brought that up because I was explaining something like that I used to do back in the day when Eisen and I were talking this morning. Because you would have commercial properties like restaurants, for instance, that went out of business, right?
Right,
But the owner still has the building, and
right.
all that equipment that was left inside just sits there 5, 10 years, not doing
Oh
nothing.
yeah,
Yeah.
So what I would do is I would find the owner and I would ask him, look, let me take a look inside the building. I'll pay for electricity to turn it on for the day. I'll go in, I'll turn on the equipment, see if it still works, got lights to look around. If I see that is viable, I'll offer him a 90-day option contract. And just to sweeten the pot, here's $100 just to give me 90 days. And then I'll go out and I'll hunt down every restaurant person who's looking for restaurant equipment. And then I'll sell off that shit that was abandoned inside. Give me a nice check of 10 grand and keep it moving.
You know,
It's just that simple. I mean, seriously, it's just that damn simple.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Well, all right. We've been at this for almost an hour and a half. I
Oh, I'm
think.
sorry, man. You
No,
said an
you good.
hour.
You
I'm
good.
sorry.
You good. You good. You good. It's all right. But we're gonna get ready to shut it down here. Had a great barbershop talk with the guys up here. Uh, so since you got up here last, I'll start with you, Aori, for closing thoughts.
Yeah, man. Like, to be perfectly honest with you, bro, the opportunities are out there. Like, just get in somewhere and give yourself time. That's all it is. It don't have to be any opportunity that we bring out there. Just get into something you're interested in, and basically be able to do the adding and subtracting that you need to find the people that you can work with. That's it. Just
Yep.
it's connecting the dots. Really.
All right. MOT.
yeah. I got a live stream in a couple hours about power and the dissolution of it, the actual end of individual thought and action, and the actions of group benefit based on your actions. So that's what I'm going to be talking about 3 or 4 hours. And people need to tune into it because you have to understand that these things are not going to circulate anymore. You're going to understand the progress, the lack thereof, and the system that they use to keep you under their heel by not living up to your truest potential in your own time. There's a lot of people who make a mint off the fact that you are just listening to them for entertainment purposes. Entertainment purposes is not going to be able to help you take meaningful action.
All right.
IQ scores now to help you take meaningful action. So that's why I'm at.
Oh yeah, no problem. Thank you for being up here. Yeah, that'll be definitely be a good live stream to hear.
I'm going to
Uh,
say one last thing,
okay, go
Isaac.
ahead.
Build your mental toolbox. Okay, this is kind of deep. Like a lot of times, we're not taught to really build a mental toolbox in terms of being able to interface with other people. So when you don't build a mental toolbox, you don't realize that all the opportunities are there if you know how to approach it correctly. And that's why a lot of people end up being lost because outside of the four people they know and the four people that they talk to, they don't have a way to actually go and reach other people. So once you're able to build your mental toolbox in terms of your expectations, in terms of how to approach other people and how to become useful as somebody who's willing to do the things that they can't do, that's the secret to power right there. Because the moment people understand that you're productive, they'll start opening things up for you. That's it. But it all starts from a mental toolbox. That's it.
All right. Thank you for that, Iori. Next, Sigma Jones.
Well, on one note, I'm going to say, don't be a degree nigga. So there's
Yes.
there's the don't be a nigga, and now for today's show, don't be a degree nigga. So there's that. But then on a more serious note, to kind of tie in to the title, Eisen, um, adaptability is required for change. And so if you're
Yes.
not able to adapt, your genetics should die with you because you can't change without adaptability. And I'll just leave it at that.
All right. All
Darwinian concept.
right. All right. Uh, well, to my co-host, Will Lawrence, it's on you.
Oh, first things first, man. Let's talk about the change that's needed the most. Change your mindset on the culture of color because it's not going to get you anywhere. It's just not. You have to step outside that. You have to step outside that space. Not everyone who looks like you is for you. Period. And you'll come to find that if you accept that and you move forward appropriately, you'll find that there's far more people who don't look like you who's there for you. As crazy as that sounds, they've got us twisted up real bad where they think everybody's out to get us, and that's just not the case. I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I'm just saying it's not everything and everybody, and that needs to be understood. As far as it goes for degrees, I've said my piece in this place and many other places many a times. I don't think it's necessary to repeat, and I'm saying that as Dr. Lawrence Guy the second. It don't mean shit. I'm just putting that out there. Um, but keep your head down. Do what you're supposed to do. Focus on you, not because of you trying to floss in front of other people or you're trying to get other people to accept you. Acceptance is overrated. Okay, let me just put that out there. Acceptance is overrated. It really is. Outside of that, hashtag men first. That's all I got.
All right. It's a good one. It's a good one. Well, and then my aspect for the change, um, I'm gonna leave you with, well, have you really? Have you really? Is it just one of those grand illusions that you're trying to put out there to make people think you have? Got some more content gonna be coming up, and definitely have to get into uh, Black Widows series again for next month. I'm thinking, after doing some deliberation here, there's been several instances in there, where women have stiff armed the brother for the D. So we'll get into that. Women taking it, And
Wow. Wow.
I mean, for
I'm
all you
sorry,
that,
I opened up that door on that one.
yeah,
My bad.
for all y'all, for all y'all that thought that them women of the past, were more than that. They were a real relic, and if they were any different, we gonna go in there and show you exactly what that is. So I'm just gonna
I'm
leave you with.
I'm
Go
sorry,
ahead.
just real quick. MOT, if you're still there, what time is your stream start?
6 p.m. our Eastern.
6 p.m. Eastern? All right, cool. No, I just wanted everybody to know if they
Cool,
wanted to show up.
cool, good one, good one. So without further ado, don't be a hospital gown nigga. Peace.